It is.
All right, and we are live. What is going on, my specialist SPC here, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Talkalorian Live. As you guys see, we got both the co-hosts today. Andy and Ren are both here this week. Ren obviously had some stuff going on, but we still shouted him out and missed you, man.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be back. Had to miss last week's episode, unfortunately, which I really liked, by the way. So here are some week's episodes. But I can't wait to talk about this week's with you guys. Miss talking to you some Talkalorian.
Miss talking to you, dude. But, I mean, you didn't miss much last week. We were basically just roasting Chapter 10 the entire time, so...
Oh, my God.
Missed you, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to send a quick shout out to Sean Chandler for joining us last week, man. It was a lot of fun. I hope he can come back again for a future episode, maybe. So guys, here we are at the halfway point of the show. Chapter 12, The Siege. We make our way back to Navaro. We are back to basic Mando story. So what did you guys think, Andy?
No, man. I just... off the top of my head, I guess I talked about this earlier, but I knew an episode in the series was going to be directed by Carl Weathers, and I was really shaky on how that was going to end up. But gotta admit, super impressed. Like, I really liked this episode because it felt like it fast-tracked a lot of the plot, and then we get to the ending where we start to realize, I guess it hadn't clicked that Mando and the crew didn't realize Moff Gideon was still alive. So them discovering that was, I know, it also clicked because it's like, oh yeah, I guess they didn't realize that, duh. So I know, I liked it. And then of course there was my theories about clones and midichlorians, using maybe harvesting midichlorians. So really interested, really excited now. Not that I wasn't, but still.
And Ren.
Oh, I was a huge fan of this episode. Still am a huge fan of this episode. On the first half, I was like, okay, this is another side mission, which I don't mind. But then halfway through, I start to get this very cool feel that it's paying homage to the infiltration of the Death Star in A New Hope. That's a lot of the very similar shots. It's four people in this case, with Obi-Wan in the original film as well, coming in then going out. Then they stumble onto those tubes, those pods that had these defective phones in it, and this started to make a very clear picture of what this is all about. What's the grand picture here? And like Andy said as well, that last scene just puts a whole new perspective on where the season is and what it has been building up until this point. Like Andy said as well, I was also a huge fan of what Carl Weathers did as a director, not only because I never seen him direct before and he was awesome, but also he was in a lot of this episode in front of the camera. So it's amazing. So yeah, it's probably my second favorite episode of the season thus far, and I've been enjoying all of them on different levels, but this is probably my number 2 so far.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. This was just like with Jon Favreau, this was just a very well-directed episode. It just had the perfect blend of comedy, action, suspense, just everything that you want when it comes to watching a Star Wars episode or movie, however you want to word it. And I definitely agree with the A New Hope. There was a lot of A New Hope feel in here. I don't know why when they were going through the trenches, my first thought was, oh, it's the trench run on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Well, I know they've done it before, right? But even with just a side swipe at the beginning and the end scene where you're looking at the Imperial cruiser, you're looking at the bottom of it, there were so many healthy callbacks. Healthy isn't it didn't feel like it was pandering or trying too hard, but it felt like a true segue, like a true interconnection between the original trilogy and the new trilogy to me. So the cameos and the callbacks felt really, really organic to me.
Yeah, and I mean, we didn't really get I thought we were gonna get a lot of stormtrooper action in this episode. I mean, we did get some pretty good decent action in this episode. And I mean, man, yeah, I gotta agree with you, Ron. This was probably for me the second best episode of the season, I guess, at least.
Yeah, I also liked like those New Hope comparisons and homages are not just superficial either. Because one thing that I felt personally is that New Hope has one of the best screenplays ever written, in my opinion. And this episode, being the midpoint of the season, really felt like it understood the importance of a midpoint in a screenplay where everything changes, where you find out a piece of information, the characters find out a piece of information as well, that changes your whole perspective on where are we going and what have we been building up to. And I think this episode does that very well and in a very clear manner. It's most importantly the scenes where they find the tubes with the clones and this mission turns out to be not what they thought it was, and also that last scene of Moff Gideon has a plan B and a plan A, because from the beginning I gotta say that alien looked back at Mando and the others walking into the village. I was like, okay, I see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, man. If Moff Gideon has more screen time and he does some really good stuff, especially with that ending shot we keep bringing up with all of them. I think it's at least like 20 troopers that are in there.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, man. Moff Gideon, I think, could be one of the best Star Wars villains.
Yeah. And it sucks when you talk about that because like Kylo Ren was one of my favorite Star Wars villains. Like, because he was a little bit like deviated a little bit more from like, cold villains like Vader and Palpatine, like into like this full fleshed out kind of, I know he was emblematic of like this Sith nature, just very unruly, very like passionate, like, but then a return to this coldness, like this just looming evil that is in Moff Gideon is oddly refreshing after watching the new trilogy, like just because I know he's not trying to be Palpatine. He's not trying to be Vader. He is the man, man in the shadows, but also just his. I forget the actor's name. How to pronounce it? Esposito or
Giancarlo Esposito. Yeah.
Thank you, Giancarlo Esposito. Like, just his presence in general, like, is menacing. Ever since seeing him as Gus Fring in Breaking Bad, I mean. So him doing this is awesome. Not to typecast him, but he makes an incredible villain anytime he's on screen.
He's a very good actor.
Yeah.
And he's Moff Gideon, that is, and Giancarlo Esposito plays him very well, but he's someone that is very aware of his position, both what he's capable of and what he has the resources for, I guess. Like you said, he's not trying to be the ruler of the universe, but he knows that he's an underling of that ruler, and he's trying to do his job well, which I like to see in a character.
Yeah, well, it feels like there's like legitimate conviction behind his actions. You know what I mean? It feels like he's not self-serving. Exactly like you said. Like whatever he's doing is bigger than him. It's almost like religious to him. It's like just he's dead set on this, and that you can tell that just from a few appearances, which is. Once again, really good acting and really good character writing to me.
Yeah, definitely, and it brings us back a little bit because the Empire and the First Order are very different. Because let's face it, the Empire, for lack of a better word, were Nazis. They are racist.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Except in the Star Wars universe, it's just aliens are the minority. Let's say so they accept all kinds of humans, and I like that portrayal of villainy on screen and bringing us back to that where it's just humans, ranks of the Empire. There are no, like the aliens, it's a spy that works on them and they'll dispose of if they need to.
Yeah.
So I like that harking back again. We're talking about the comparisons and homages to New Hope. I like this portrayal of just very bleak, very just pure evil faces of the Empire.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, no, it's I like it. I like seeing the Empire coming back. I like seeing that we're in this, because the thing about the Mandalorian is it's always a toss-up, at least for me, like where it is on the timeline. And I get it's like 10 years or whatever after like A New Hope or something like that. right? I don't know, but
I know it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi. I'm not sure
okay.
when it comes to New Hope because I'm never sure how much time went between New Hope and Return. But that's me.
Right.
I'm sure the information is out there. I just don't remember.
I think it's like 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess like I guess my main thing is like that it's nice knowing that it's like between the second and third trilogy because this episode like helps kind of bridge that for me a little bit. You know, like helps kind of not directly tie in, but point at the new trilogy. Like, you know, in like I don't know, it just feels like it alludes towards it, and I really like that with all the potential Snoke clones or whatever we saw in the tubes. Like, I don't know.
I'm hoping that's what we're going to get. I'm hoping we're going to get a good transitioning into the new trilogy because my thing is, at least by however many seasons this goes, like I said, I hope it doesn't go past like season 5 at least. But I want to see either the very last season or the second to last season. I want them to actually be like, okay, we're the First Order. Here are our stormtroopers. Here's our leader. And that's what I want to start seeing more of that kind of stuff. I don't want to keep seeing, as much as I love the Empire, I mean, eventually they're going to have to fade out.
Yeah.
But for that, I think there should be a semi-big time jump because I'm sure they won't care because the canon in books, clearly they don't care a lot about it, but that it's been established in books, and I don't quite remember which book it was, but it should be a while for us to see at least the first people emerging in the First Order, because it comes, I believe, when Phasma is a teenager, and supposedly right now, as the Mandalorian is happening right now, Phasma isn't even born yet. So if we are going to see that, and like you, Austin, I would like to see it. I think it should be a proper semi-big time jump, like 7 years, I guess, would be enough.
Yeah, I could see something like that because, I mean, for me, man, I know, obviously, you know, we talk about it all the time, you know, the sequels get a lot of hark, but I've actually enjoyed the First Order, like, as, like, a faction, or however you want to say it, but obviously, though, they're carbon copy print of the Empire. There's things I think they do really good, and I like the look of the stormtroopers. I like the way their ships look. I mean, I like, obviously, you know, the way they're run is, you know, a little hit or miss, but
the First Order being, like you said, a carbon copy of the Empire, it's actually probably the one thing that makes Palpatine's involvement make sense. Because, like, Palpatine just wanted to recreate the whole Empire. So it's the one thing, like, I overall enjoy The Rise of Skywalker, but I hate the inclusion of Palpatine because of how they executed it. Because, like, when they announced it, I was like, I'm in. Yes, it makes all the sense. And then it didn't make sense. But like you said, them being a carbon copy, the fact that he was behind it all along is the one thing that makes me go, oh, yeah, makes sense that he would kind of just recreate this whole thing again because it's his Empire.
It's even like him recreating the Death Star. It's like, you really think it worked the first time? You really think it's going to work again?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, got you, right? Laser focused on that Death Star, apparently.
Yeah. The definition of insanity, doing the same over and over again and expecting different results.
And
although, unless you watch the Lego Holiday Special, which I just did today, Vader wanted to call it Starkiller Base.
Okay, is the Lego? Oh gosh, dumb question. Is the Lego Holiday Special canon?
No, I hope not. But it's a famous fact that not even the second one, but the original Death Star, the original name for it was not the original name, but one of the names before it was called Death Star was Starkiller Base. Okay. Because before that, the original name for Luke Skywalker was Luke Starkiller.
Oh, okay. I like that. See, that is also cool.
Yeah,
But-
there's I think it's like a 4-issue comic series that goes into like the original idea for the original Star Wars movie Lucas had. Luke was the father of Anakin and another kid called Anakin Starkiller. Chewie was a reptilian-like alien instead of a big dog/bear. And other differences that are just really cool to read about.
Like now I wonder if they still would have called them Wookiees if he was like this lizard reptilian thing, like Wookiee furry.
I
Makes sense
think
for a
it has a
Wookiee.
different name, but I
Okay.
don't remember, to be honest. I don't remember.
I thought Zeb from Rebels was supposed to be the original Chewbacca.
Yes, that's it. That's
What?
it. That's it. It's a very. I don't think it's the same. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's the same. But I think it's very similar because then they got the idea for Zeb through the original design of Chewbacca.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And that same species is Jaro Tapal in Fallen Order.
Exactly. The master of Cal.
Dang, all the
And he takes in so much information during these. I love it.
well,
Some knowledge.
well, yeah, because like I was never like a big Star Wars guy. Like, I mean, I loved like keeping up with the movies when they came up. Like I told you, I love Rogue One. Like I love like I love offshoot movies that like flesh out a little bit of the lore and things like it's like liking Halo Reach. Like I had compared it to where I get to see it tie into this bigger franchise or series. But yeah, I was never like grew up on Star Wars. I think Phantom Menace kind of killed that for me, just because I saw it when I was a kid. Like not even from like a modern current perspective. I just saw it as a kid, thought it was going to be an action movie, thought it was going to be like the original trilogy movies. It wasn't. So it kind of like made me simmer down on like Star Wars. I mean, I watched the episodes 2 and 3, but still, I'm taking it. I'm sponging in information every time. You're right, Austin. Y'all are dropping knowledge on me.
Your faces just tell the story, man. You're always like, what?
He's going right into Amazon and trying to find those comics right after this.
Yeah, because y'all are like, because like the comics I read have like like touched on things or like character interactions that are cool, and then y'all are like pointing at different things, and I'm like, what the heck am I reading? Like like have I just been reading fan fiction? Like, is this an elaborate prank on me?
We're trying to give you some more video ideas, man.
Oh my gosh, seriously.
The differences between Star Wars and the Adventures of Luke Starkiller.
Actually, speaking of that, is something I was like, because I was talking with a friend, like kind of as a segue in a weird way, about like why the Mandalorian is so appealing, at least to me, because I was like trying to like, it's like not only is it like Star Wars, but just like we've talked about the space western, space opera. I mean, it's going to have the space opera elements, but the space western elements are still just so freaking awesome to me. I mean, this episode in a weird way departed from that a little bit. I feel, like it didn't really feel too westerny to me, if that makes sense. I don't know, which isn't a bad thing because it like evoked more of that space opera, Star Wars New Hope, like original trilogy feel, which I think was also kind of cool because we haven't really seen that too much for me in the series thus far. I mean, not series, this season thus far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about for the first episode, I mean, that one was very, very, Western feeling. Mm-hmm. This one I feel it was like 50-50. It was like actual Western for like kind of like weirdly like the heist or like we got to sabotage this, and then having it slowly turn into like a Firefly, like you keep bringing up all the time.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, like an action sci-fi, whatever I'm trying to say.
Actually, no, you're right, because at the end it does become like an awesome just shootout and like end run, like we got to get out of here. So that was really nice.
I love that whole part with the TIE fighters. The TIE fighter scene was really good.
Gosh.
So fun. Like when the TIE fighters started coming in, I'm like just hearing the sound. I'm like, oh yeah, here it comes. Let's go.
That is one of my favorite sounds in Star Wars is the TIE fighters like roaring and their blaster fire. I love it so much.
Actually,
like, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good, Ren.
I was just gonna say, like, the sounds of Star Wars in general to me are some of the most iconic sounds in
Oh,
cinema. Whether it's the
yeah.
blasters of any ship, the roaring of the starfighters, the lightsabers igniting, just a boom. If you do that, even if someone hasn't seen Star Wars ever, they know what that is.
Yeah. I mean, that's just another thing, right? It's just good sound design. Like it still feels like we're getting elements of that, even though, obviously we haven't seen lightsaber combat or anything in that, but like, it also still feels like there's enough of that sound design in the series. You even had like, I think the Wilhelm scream in this episode, like as the dude, you've got stuff like that is iconic and it's still peppered throughout the series. So it's not. It's like we've said, like it's not shying away from being in the Star Wars universe, being canon, and I love it. Like I love that they're doing that.
Yeah, they're doing new good things, but they're also sticking with what makes Star Wars Star Wars. Still.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a great blend. I love it.
Yeah, they're picking up like familiar concepts, old concepts, and executing them in a very fresh way. I do gotta say though, Andy just talked about how we haven't seen lightsaber fights in this so far. That might change come next week.
I know. Especially since he's like actually going to Corvus and he's basically got the entirety of the Empire about to be on him with the tracking device. Also, that's what I was going to ask is, what did y'all think was going to be in the base? You know what I mean? Is like I didn't know what to expect. I definitely didn't expect everything that went down. But like, what were y'all thinking when you like, oh, they're going to this hollowed out Empire base or whatever?
Austin?
I honestly thought maybe we were going to be seeing like a shipment of like blasters and like supplies and stuff to help out Navaro. Like, that's what I thought at first. And then obviously, we see Cara down below in the former now Mandalorian hideout. Obviously now there's a bunch of bounty hunters, whatever they want to call them, I guess. They're living down there. And then you kind of walk through Navaro and it just looks so different from the way it looked last time we saw it at the end of episode 8. So I was expecting weapons.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I'm still like, I don't know, maybe I was thinking Den of Robbers thing is, like just some maybe we even like got a new enemy, or I don't know, we get like, I definitely didn't expect a direct Empire tie-in for sure. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm probably gonna lose my critic cred with this, but I didn't think about it. Not once. I was just like, oh, they're going to a base school. I was too busy looking at Baby Yoda in the classroom and thinking he's the cutest thing ever. Then see the asshole kid not giving him any macaroons, and also thinking I gotta buy some macaroon stock because that is going to skyrocket.
Dude, I was thinking that too. I was like, what are those? Like blue or they're macaroons. I haven't had one in forever. I need to hit one up. Go to Whole Foods or I don't know. But I also did like that, they had a little bit of force play, like in the it's super subtle, but it's nice when, like we talked about, he's not like the ace in the hole, but, like his force powers just lift mud horns all the time. So that was.
I think that's the first time we've seen him use the force in this season so far.
I think so too.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
I don't know why, but I laughed so hard because Andy, you're the first person I thought of because you're like, oh yeah, he's using all these Sith abilities, like she's choking her and doing this. I'm like, this kid is an asshole.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you can't have any. He's like, okay, well, whatever. I'll just take them myself. Screw you.
You won't give me one. I'm taking them all, bitch.
And I love to. After Mando's destroying all the TIE fighters and stuff, he's like, that was pretty cool, huh? Yeah.
That and when it turns up and he's like, yay!
Oh yeah, he's just freaking out, having the time of his life, man. Dude, Baby Yoda, such a sucker for him.
I keep looking at the life-size Hot Toys one of Baby Yoda, and I still haven't decided, gentlemen. I got to share here. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying yes yet, but I'm not saying no.
I think that's also what's nice about Baby Yoda is he's just a good quote unquote mascot. Like. He's not invasive. They haven't made him more prominent in the second season. Like people are already latched onto him. Like most of the episode or season, he's like not even present. You know what I mean? Is like they're not like cutting back to him in the school. They just have their one scene. That's it. And then he shows up again when Mando picks him up. It's like, that's just like that's how you have like a good mascot, so to speak. It's good. It's
like his inclusion in the first episode too. Like he's just there in like just little chunks. Like you're getting the main story, but he's like, oh hey, here he is. Oh yep, here he is again.
And same with the last episode where it was just with Frog Lady and seeing the babies being born.
Yes,
I watched the most hilarious video last week after that episode. Somebody was saying how Mando is the worst father in Star Wars.
How dare you?
How is Mando the worst father? Are you kidding me?
I think it's
Darth Vader.
It's like every time, how did he word it? Every time he like goes out on a mission, he just like drops him off on somebody. He's like, here, you take care of him. And then he just takes off and then comes back.
That's not even Mando's kid. He's father of the freaking year. Like,
exactly. And he's not dropping him off with anyone. Like, he trusts Frog Lady. He trusts the school, which is under the jurisdiction of Marshal Cara Dune, which, by the way, that's an awesome detail that I really loved.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's not just anyone. I don't think. Like, especially in Star Wars, he's far from being the worst father.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, good night. Like, how many people have died? Like, how many dads have died getting killed by sons? I mean, it's like Shakespearean or something, right? But it's like, I mean, Vader, like, Han Solo ate it. I mean, like, how are you going to say that? Oh, my gosh, man, that's hysterical.
Even Jango Fett is a worse father than Mando.
Yeah!
And God knows Lando is a worse father than Mando. And God knows how many children he has spread throughout the galaxy.
Yeah, and I mean, and then even like Rey's parents, who were nobodies, like they, I don't know, were Sith or whatever, and tried to run away from Palpatine. Like, so it's like, how are you tracing this back and saying, no, father of the year, best father in the Star Wars in the Star Wars series, Star Wars canon?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was going to say that, Andy, too. I was going to say Palpatine. I'd say Palpatine's a way worse father. Here, go kill my son.
Gosh.
And his wife.
And his wife. And you see my granddaughter, do her too.
Exactly. I wouldn't even have a problem with that video if it was just Mando is a bad father. I'm like, I disagree, but okay.
Yeah.
Like, worst father.
It'd just be one of those like random 5-second videos that get over 1 million views.
Oh gosh. Oh, just a super quick hot take. Good.
That is, Mando's the worst father in Star Wars. Click. Like,
oh my
how
God.
can you give me some explanations?
Clearly the child is still alive, so he's doing good.
Yeah, not just alive, but he can clearly that was nice about the first chunk of the episode is he can clearly also comprehend what Mando's saying a little bit. Like when he's touching the wires. I mean, obviously not well, but it's also cool to see that he is picking up a little bit of communicative skills. That was interesting.
That was such a cool scene, man. That was such a cool scene in the beginning. And I always get really riled up when Baby Yoda gets minimally hurt. It's like when he got the shock and he was okay. Even though he was okay, I was like, oh no. Because when I look at Baby Yoda, yes, he's a baby, but I love animals. I freaking love animals. And I see Baby Yoda a lot as an animal. So when he's hurt, like when the stormtroopers punched him in the last season, when I tell you I was mad because I wanted to beat those guys up so bad. And same when the dudes in the last week dropped him into the water, it was like, you motherfucker.
I forgot about that part.
I'm gonna kill somebody. That's how I always feel like when he gets hurt. So that's why I was like, oh, this kid is an asshole. I'm going to slap him in the face when he didn't give a macaroon to Baby Yoda.
I don't know why, man, that whole scene where he's like, no, put the red wire where the blue wire used to be. And I was laughing that whole time. And then unfortunately, when he got shocked, I had to put my phone down and just laugh for like a good 5 minutes. I'm like, I feel so bad, but oh man.
It's like it's like
what
holding
matters
a flashlight for your dad when he's repairing the car engine. Just oh my gosh, it was awesome.
What matters is that he was okay. He was fine. That's what's important.
So, what did you guys think of the little bit of screen time we got from Cara and like her role actually in this film?
I liked it a lot. I like that she's a marshal. I like she's a super badass as we know her to be, and Gina Carano can clearly do action on camera.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite part was the last scene where she meets with the X-wing pilot from two episodes ago, played by Paul Sun Young Lee, who I love from one of my favorite shows, Kim's Convenience. If any of you haven't seen it,
Yeah,
it's on Netflix. He's awesome. I freaked out when I saw him in that second episode. I freaked out when he's back over here, because he's a genuinely huge Star Wars nerd, and he cosplays all the time. And I like how that scene between them alludes to a future role of Cara Dune and the interesting directions she could go. She could become an officer in the New Republic within Mando. I also know that we've heard rumors that they're planning on doing a Cara Dune spin-off show, which Gina Carano controversy in real life aside, I still like the character. But I wouldn't want a show of her, you know. I like her much more as a supporting character that could have a constant presence in this Mando show. So I like what that last scene alludes to, and she didn't say no to joining the Republic.
I'd watch a spinoff if it were like a true miniseries, like 4-episode.
Yeah, I could live with a miniseries.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. Still not my preference, but I'd be like, okay, it's a miniseries, fine, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I guess I don't know. If they ever said, but I kind of liked how they included like, oh no, so you're from Alderaan. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
And they brought that up, and they're like, oh, how many did you lose? I lost everyone. I'm like,
Yeah. That line was really well delivered, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm like kind of tearing up right now thinking of it, but like you said, it was well delivered and like it made you feel the impact. Because I mean, you've got Cara who's like lost so much, and then you've got this exchange with this dude who's just not forceful. This dude who like is not trying to get her involved, just asking if she wants to join.
Yeah.
Because he understands like what there is. Like I know it just felt powerful because, you know, he's not a warrior. You know, he's just someone trying to do the right thing. You know, he's just someone like trying to serve. So I thought that exchange had volumes to it, and part of why I like, you know, Cara's character as well is you could tell she was considering it, but she was also wanting to protect what she had. She was wanting to protect and serve like Navaro, which I know it was this nice little quick character interaction that had like a lot of depth to it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both. I mean, I liked her involvement, how she's now went from being just essentially like a sidekick to actually being like the law now in Navaro.
Yeah.
Her actually having the say and showing everything she's done, kind of reestablishing the town there on Navaro. And I thought she was done very well. Even a little bit of Carl Weathers we got in here too. Like, he's even stepped up too. And especially, I didn't even know he was directing this episode till the end. I was like, whoa, wait, what? He directed this?
Yeah.
He had so much screen time too. It's like, wow.
Yeah. It's impressive how good he did. Like both in front and behind the camera. Like really, really great job. Another thing that I liked. I don't know if you guys noticed this. I feel weird just having noticed this, but the little town that Cara Dune is the marshal of, it really reminded me of Agrabah from Aladdin, but like a Star Wars version of it. Like the whole architecture, the shot selection, like the looks and colors of it all just really reminded me, oh, this looks like Agrabah. A very small version of Agrabah, but still, it really reminded me of that for some reason.
It's actually really cool.
I didn't even notice that. No,
me neither.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it now. Dang it!
Actually,
I feel weird. I won't be surprised if you guys still don't agree, because I'm like, why did I think that?
in terms of small stuff, and here we go. Put your tinfoil hats on for this one. Like especially after the revelation, right? In the thank you all, Austin.
You're welcome.
especially in like the last episode, the revelation that Mando is basically a cultist, right? I mean that like the Children of the Watch are like a borderline cult in the Mandalorian like sect, whatever you want to call it, is like I wonder if at the start of this episode when he tilts his helmet up to like drink some soup, it's like kind of like it's funny and like cool on paper, but at the same time it's like I wonder if that's like a weird subtle foreshadow to him like departing from the way. You know what I mean? It's like from him departing slowly from like the Children of the Watch's like adherence to like this old school Mandalorian tradition. Like I know I'm reading way into that, but
even like Baby Yoda, like watching him, like trying to like look under the helmet and everything. Like I agree with you on the foreshadowing. I think it's going to be more of a maybe when Mando and Baby Yoda are alone, maybe he'll start taking the helmet off more.
Yeah, I agree and disagree at the same time because I think it's something that will be exclusively for when only Baby Yoda is around. Like it's almost okay. I can take my helmet off for him, but it's also very similar to when he also drank a little bit of soup in last season's episode 4, the one in the village and whatnot. He actually does take the helmet off effectively with tons of people around. So now with Baby Yoda, it's more of a natural thing. It's as if he was alone. He is alone. And as far as he knows, at least as far as he knows, Baby Yoda can talk. So he can tell anyone or won't be able to talk ever as far as he knows. So he won't be able to tell, oh, he took off his helmet.
Just snitch him out.
Yeah, exactly.
Seen his face, I have.
that is also a weird. I don't know. That's a weird concept to me. Is like not taking the helmet off. I mean, I get it, but like I'm still like kind of like weirded out by like the idea of the Mando being part of this like Children of the Watch thing. I really want that to be explored a little bit more because that was such like an interesting like drop in episode 3 or chapter 11 for me.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, I guess I don't know if they delve into it more in like the Clone Wars show or not, or even maybe the Rebels show.
Yeah. In Rebels, I honestly do not remember, but in Clone Wars, there was never, and I might not just not remember that they did, but I don't remember them ever having that section of Mandalorians that believe in that never take your helmet off in front of anybody cult. Because in Clone Wars they go to Mandalore a lot, and when they're not in battle they just have that helmets off. They're just normal people. In Rebels the Mandalorians show up in season 3, I believe. There are a few Mandalorian characters here and there throughout season 1 and 2, but then in season 3 there's a whole big section about Mandalorians, and it's awesome. But I don't remember either having that section of the creed that believes that you should never take your helmet off.
That isn't
even like we talked about last week, Andy, with Sean. We talked about how like us as like the viewers know more than like what the characters know of, because like we know Moff Gideon is alive, and even like the Darksaber too. Obviously, Bo was looking for the Darksaber, and obviously last time we saw it, which I didn't know, and thank you to Sean for letting us know, but Bo actually is the last one to have the Darksaber before we see Moff Gideon have it now. So it's like, so now there's that little intertwining thing. Like, are we going to see more Bo-Katan in the show, or are we going to just be having her in this one episode? Will she maybe pop up here and there? Is she going to get her own show? Who knows?
I think we're going to.
Oh, I love that.
I definitely think I think we're going to see more of her. Like, just because she's the one who directed Mando to Corvus. Moff Gideon's going to be all over that hoe. Like, I mean, like Corvus, but like, we got like. I feel like it's about to come down, like especially since we know we're about to see Ahsoka, or at least be like pointed that direction once again. So I feel like there is going to be a lot more intersection.
Yeah. Also, Ahsoka could very well get the information out of Mando that that he knows of Moff Gideon, and Ahsoka might know that Moff Gideon has the dark saber. Because in the third episode, what was very interesting is that Bo-Katan never found out that Mando knew Moff Gideon, but also they never found out that he was alive at this point. But also, Mando doesn't know that Moff Gideon has the dark saber. So now that all these pieces are coming into play, Ahsoka could very well be the final piece that solves the puzzle in everyone's minds.
And I know you brought up a good point, and like I think Austin, you also brought it up last week. No, you did. You brought it up last week with Sean. Is like knowing more than the characters know is because like also realizing how hard that is. I was playing D&D. We were doing a campaign earlier this week. D&D campaign. I play a eunuch bard for anyone who's interested. But it's like interesting because when you're like role playing, you're in character. You forget that you can't act like you know the overarching story. You don't know how like things are going to end, how they're going to go. So like obviously I'm not like acting, but even just role playing right then, like trying to be in character, it's so hard to disassociate myself from like knowing what's going on or how character interactions are supposed to go, information behind the scenes. It's I don't know, it's hard to, like I said, I didn't realize that they didn't know Moff Gideon was alive until like this episode, like which should have been.
Even Bo just refers to him. Does he have it? Where's he?
Yeah,
at? Like,
exactly.
It's not like where's Gideon at? Well, Gideon is dead. No, he's not. Like, but I killed him though. What are you talking about?
But that's also stuff like that is also, I guess, cool because it goes back to that. It goes back to that whole like knowing more than the characters aspect of like you compare it to real life. And I think it's something you see a lot in like Tarantino movies and like who directed Fargo?
Coen Brothers.
Thank you. Like Coen Brothers and like Tarantino movies is this idea of like just very human interactions, like where something big could be going on, but like just because two characters have either interacted so minorly, like, or just have like excluded a brief bit of information, they just don't know. They just don't know about like bigger events going on. Is like, for Bo-Katan, like just not name dropping Moff, is like all it took for them to not know this dude was still alive. Despite like in a prolonged interaction like with her throughout the entire episode. That's just funny to me how like human that is.
Andy, that's actually a good way to describe it. Like it's like D&D, like because like you can even make up your own story and you know more than what's going on. Obviously, to I guess an extent. I've never played D&D, unfortunately, but
me neither. But I understand the point being made.
It's awesome. And there's like I didn't realize how like intense it was in terms of like spin-offs because there's like Star Wars role playing. I mean, D&D spin-offs, so like you can do your own campaigns and stuff. It's cool, but I guess to that extent, when you have a dungeon master, it's like having a director telling all the actors what they're going to do or reading the screenplay or whatever. It's like I said, it's interesting to like because then you like hear someone like having this long-winded like interaction with like someone, and you're just like in the room chilling like next to him, like, so is your character going to tell our character that? And he's like, no, my character goes back to the bar and goes to sleep. So watching this in the series because then people are on different planets. Like Mando hadn't talked to either Greef or Cara since last season. So still,
I hope they come back. Like I enjoy seeing them as like a trio. It's like Han, Leia, and Luke, or Obi-Wan, Anakin, and
R2D2.
There we go. R2D2. I was about to say this one might be a bad example, but just their interactions.
Finn, Poe, and Rey.
There we go.
Finn, Poe, and Rey. Yeah, there you go. I should have said that one. I don't know why that one didn't even pop in my head, but
it's okay. I got you, Austin. I got you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Coming in clutch.
Yeah. Man, no, I love their interactions. I love how well they work together. Almost essentially, they can like read each other's minds, kind of like how we talked about earlier in this series about how Baby Yoda and Mando, they kind of like, they know like what they're thinking and what they're going to do. And they kind of just do it before anything even happens.
Yeah. Well, and that's also the nice part about like not Moff, but Grief's like Carl Weathers' like kind of redemptive arc or whatever is I like that I like liking that character and liking him as a villain, but also being able to enjoy him as a good guy. Like actually like, it feeling earned when he like switches like sides. So I don't know, like seeing what him and Cara had done for Navarro was also, like you said, like it was just beautiful because it was bustling. I mean, like literally not just like opposite to what it was before, but like just so. I mean, even like when it was still like when the Mandalorians were still there and everything, it just felt cold. It was just a cold city, just den of robbers. It was nice seeing it like actually thriving.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why he reminds me a lot of like Lando, kind of like a B level Lando.
Yeah, he does. He does.
I don't know if it's the cape or if it's actually him, just the way he's actually like helping like rebuild this society after, basically he helped destroy it in a sense.
Yeah. That's hold on. Yeah, that's a really good point. Dang.
Did you guys also notice when they walked into the school? Did you guys see the IG-11 memorial in the back?
No.
What?
Oh, yeah. They have a whether it's actually his body or not, but yeah, they have a statue of IG-11 right before you walk into the school.
That's awesome.
That tugged at the strings, man. That tugged on the strings.
Gosh.
Oh, I gotta go back for it now. I gotta catch that.
That's some freaking Iron Giant. Oh, gosh, I mean, just Iron Giant, big Iron Giant energy is gosh, I mean, once again, like Mando hating droids for a good reason, and then IG-11 just his sacrifice or its sacrifice. I don't know, like IG-11 sacrifice is so awesome. So that I never would have known that, dude. That's dang it. That's just good writing. Good. Dang it. That's
it's a great Easter egg.
Yeah, man. I mean, this episode, it just had so much going on. I mean, the two big things, obviously, we kind of already touched on it, what was inside of them tubes. I mean, obviously, we can kind of assume that it obviously has to do with cloning.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
You obviously can't get past that. One of the big key things that people don't like in Star Wars is cloning. I mean, obviously, we saw it in The Rise of Skywalker at the beginning, all the clones of Snoke, and how apparently Palpatine's actually a clone too in The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I don't mind cloning. It doesn't bother me as much as some people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the concept doesn't bother me. It's all a matter of how it's executed. And since they did what they did in Rise of Skywalker, I also don't mind seeing that here. Because, I mean, they cannot possibly have a worse justification that they did in Rise of Skywalker. Because in Rise of Skywalker, they didn't have one. Like, Palpatine, why are you back? Because that was the entire reason.
Well, also, I hate the argument against clones. It's sci-fi. It makes a lot of sense to do cloning to me. It's like, especially when you have a bunch of nameless, faceless troops. Like come on.
Yeah, it's true.
People go crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what my thought is on like that final shot with Moff Gideon inside of his Star Destroyer. Like, to me, those are like just super upgraded clone troopers, essentially.
I'm scared.
You're scared?
Yeah.
I'm straight up scared. I don't know what they are. I like them. They look cool, but I'm scared in a good way. It's like I want to see where they go with the death cyborgs. Like what'd you call it earlier? Like a
I call that death troopers / Cylons.
Yep. Oh gosh, but no, I liked it, but I'm also curious how it also like factors into them wanting blood with high midichlorian counts. Like if that's at all going to play into just having a bunch of Force troopers. Like imagine having like death troopers that could use the Force. Like that's frightening.
Yeah.
I made up my own theory.
Oh,
what do you got?
Just out of this now.
All right.
So when they were in Navaro, obviously, Mando was bleeding. really bad in that one scene before.
Oh,
What if they took some of Mando's blood and they are mixing it with the child's blood, and now we're going to be getting like
Mando
20
troopers.
Yeah, 20 Mando troopers just to find Mando and kill him. Like,
If we do get that, and it might be awesome, I'm more curious now to see like how did they get them from not working in those tubes to being there? Because up until you guys brought it up just now, it didn't even cross my mind that those things in the final shot were the clones that were defective in those tubes, because the message from the scientists is like it doesn't work, they are very defective. So I just took them as completely different things, but now you guys brought this up and I might be wrong, and these might be the Mando slash child slash clone troopers that we're going to see. But Andy, if you want to be more scared in case they are androids, cyborgs, whatever, do watch Battlestar Galactica. It's one of the greatest shows ever made.
My roommate in college. One of my best friends, Logan, was dead set on watching that show. I never got into it, but yeah, I keep hearing it. I keep hearing I need to watch that and Stargate and like just old school sci-fi. Not old school, like just a little older.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, what a weird thing. Not weird, but what I also like is that having the child has not dropped Mando's body count. I like that he's still. I like that he's still lethal and isn't having like some weird change of heart. Like the only change of heart is like protecting and like watching over the kid, not so much not dropping bodies left and right. Like that's nice to me because it strays away from some like generic tropes of like, oh, now he's a goody two shoes.
I agree.
I saw this picture today too, and I had to bring it up. So it's like shows stormtroopers shooting and it's got a picture of Han and there's just shooting all around him. And then the droids are shooting at the lightsabers, and then you got stormtroopers shooting at Mando, and they're just pointing at all his Beskar armor.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like they do just perfectly aim at that Beskar every single time.
Gosh, I'm still thinking of like episode. What is it, like chapter 3 or 4, where he rolls out in his full Beskar plate and just
chapter 3.
Yeah, that's one of the cleanest drips of all time. Like, I'm still fixated on seeing him in full Beskar plate because I didn't know that he was gonna like. I'm just glad he kept the armor like in chapter 11. Like they juked us with like thinking he was gonna lose his jetpack for a second. I was like really worried about that. So I'm really glad they're keeping stuff like the jetpack and the whistling birds, consistent in the series.
Same. I also like that he doesn't just use the whistling birds all the time. Like we opened the season with that, which is awesome because he needed it because numbers game. But up until this point, after that, we still haven't seen it.
I mean, even then, it was like he only used it like 2 times in the first season. I mean, because it's stated that they're a hard resource and hard commodity. I mean, they're made of Beskar, so very expendable. But stuff like that, is like shot preservation, so to speak, is also really nice.
I missed the rifle, man.
Yeah.
Just seeing him just destroy those couple of what are they? Trandoshans in chapter 2. And then doing the same thing too, killing all them Jawas. That thing is.
He still used it in the season 2 premiere. So far, he hasn't needed it. So I'm with you. I miss it, but I hope you do get to see it again.
I was gonna say, like season 2 has had a lot more intimate like encounters. You know what I mean? In terms of like just combat. Like whereas season 1 literally opened with a dadgum firefight. Him like fighting his way, like him and IG-11 fighting their way out. No, like that wasn't IG-11, right? It was in the first episode.
Yeah, towards the end of the episode, where they got their big turrets and they're shooting everybody.
Just making sure. Yeah, I don't know why I lost that, but all that to say, it's just one of those things where it's nice knowing he has the weaponry and they're not like, it's not getting broken. They're not throwing away. He's keeping it. It's just he's he's a warrior, he's a trained bounty hunter, so he's literally just taking with him what he needs and being very playing conservative with his resources.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if maybe somewhere he's gonna maybe find more Beskar. Maybe he'll make like a little plate for the child or something. Maybe at some point. I'm kind of with you, Andy. I know you brought it up too. I want to see the Armorer back. Like, I miss her.
Yeah,
Same.
She's like the Yoda of the show.
I just, gosh, I don't know. Those scenes were also just so cool to me. Like her character, her presence was just, I don't know, because she was like the zealot. She was the, I guess, the leader of the Children of the Watch. So I want to see her again, and I want to know more about this departure from like more about the fleshing out of like the Children of the Watch, like how that came to be. And I feel like clearly she would have a critical, pivotal role in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the different creeds in Mandalorians, it's like religion for us. Like there are several religions, and some people don't take off their helmets in certain religions, I guess.
No, yeah, I mean, straight up, and that is what is nice about it. Is the fact that it's very, like you said, it's very religious feeling, but it's also born out of this. Not even like exile or diaspora, like I guess, diaspora, like this having to leave Mandalore and having to hide away, that it's kind of become even more like, become even more conservative, become even more restrictive for them.
Have you seen, I know you have, Austin, but Andy, have you seen the final season of Clone Wars?
I haven't.
Okay.
Not.
If not, I think for the next episode, it's important. So watch the final 4 episodes, because that's all you'll need.
Star Wars you'll ever watch.
Really?
And I believe it's going to be important. Like I just got my housemate watching them because she loves Ahsoka. She has seen most of Clone Wars except this final season, so I got her watching this final season.
All right.
Because if she's coming in, it's got to be connected. Because even Bo-Katan came in, and that way you also find out more about the Siege of Mandalore.
All right, I'm in. That's a good word. That's a real good word.
Yeah. So it's season 7, episodes 9 through 12. Yes, thank you, Austin. I was going to say 8, but I'm like, that's not 4.
I'm gonna say this: episode 9 and episode. I mean, they're all so good, man. But episode 9 is probably my favorite out of all those.
My favorite, I think, was
episode 10. Episode 10.
Episode 10 was my favorite. Like when the ball drops. Let's say that without spoiling anything. That was heartbreaking. I watched that episode 3 times on the same day. I was like, oh my god. Woo!
See, I didn't watch them week by week when they came out. I literally binge watched the whole season in like a day. And man, them last 4 episodes, it should have been a movie. I'm still gonna say that.
Smart man. Because like the only reason I don't tell you to watch the entire season is because the first 4 episodes are good, but they're not important for this. The middle 4 episodes are awful. They're so boring. They feel so much like a side mission, and then the final 4 are just a whole new level.
Huh.
Well, I don't know. Those middle 4 kind of gives you a different like look at, because it's like, well, I guess without spoiling anything, Andy, it's kind of more underworld of Coruscant. If you know where Coruscant is, where the Jedi Temple is.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see other like the underground. You see their look at like the Jedi as like a whole, and it ties in pretty good though with Ahsoka.
I like those elements of it. I'll give you that. I like those elements. They weren't like badly made, and they weren't awfully written. Just what they could have been was so much better. That's what angered me about those episodes. It felt so much, okay, here's a side mission before we get to the stuff that matters.
Mm-hmm. Like I like the few things that happen in them little 4 episodes, but other than that, it's like, even the first 4 too. I was kind of more like lukewarm on. I'm like, okay, this was cool to see, but other than that, whatever.
I get that. But those last 4, yes, a whole new level of storytelling. It just feels very cinematic the way they're directed.
Huh. Okay, that's good to know. And I also I like that. I like I'm bad at sitting down and watching movies, like let alone TV shows. So it's kind of nice to have it like diced up a little bit for me because it's like why I've enjoyed The Mandalorian so much is because I can pick it up, put it down. There's like clear, concise breaks. It doesn't feel like I'm losing information if I stop it. If I wrap up an episode and wait for the next one,
Yeah, I think you'll feel that in these last 4. So if you watch them and when you do, let us know. Tag us, Andy.
Deal.
Yeah, let us know, man. We'd love to talk to you about it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. No, thank you.
Next week after the episode will be Andy talking about his review of the final 4 episodes of Clone Wars.
I'm in. Let's watch it.
And how it freaking changes everything.
Exactly.
Oh man, that is actually like kind of forward facing. I'm really curious to know where episode 5, chapter 13 is going to take us because I mean, we're they're deadbeat for Corvus, I'm sure, but at the same time they're tracking him. So
the title has leaked.
Wait, what was the title?
The Jedi.
Let's freaking go.
And it's directed by Dave Filoni as well.
Yeah, the creator of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, that's why you have to watch it.
also a good tie-in. Once again, I love how much they're tying in like different series and like confirming things to be canon. It's audacious. It's audacious and it's a payoff for it. Once again, I'm not a huge Star Wars nut, but I don't know, like y'all love Star Wars. Like Sean loves Star Wars. Like my roommate loves Star Wars. So like everyone getting to see this stuff like tie into each other is like, and I don't know, it warms me up inside. It gives me warm fuzzies.
And you'll also get to see Bo-Katan from last week's episode. So there's that. In the Clone Wars, that is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like I've already said it. I'm not the biggest Ahsoka fan or the biggest Clone Wars fan, but I am really curious to see how she's going to tie into this story.
Same, man. I'm a huge. I gotta say this. As much as I love those final 4 episodes, I think overall, in terms of quality consistency, I think I'm a bigger fan of Rebels, the show, and I really want to see a sequel to that show, given the ending of that show. And I think Ahsoka being present in Mando could be the opening of the doors for that possibility. So I'm really excited. But of course, I hope it's more significant and important for this show than that. It's not just, I'm here to set this thing up. Bye. And she goes away. I'm a huge fan of hers. I'm not like a lot of people where she's the number 1 or number 3 favorite character ever. Like I do love the character as much as I hated her when she was first introduced in the Clone Wars movie. But she has grown a lot on me. Yes, it is.
Clone Wars,
dude. It's worse than Attack of the Clones.
Yes,
and I never thought I would say that.
I'm one of the people that hates the Phantom Menace more than Attack of the Clones, because Attack of the Clones is awful, but it's very entertaining. It's awful in the Phantom Menace is just very confusing. I don't know who's the villain. Right. I don't know who's the protagonist. I don't know what the point of the story is. Like one thing, I don't think I've said it in this show, but I've said it a lot. One of the things that angers me a lot in the Phantom Menace, that angered me when I first watched it, because like before The Last Jedi came out, I was like, I'm going to review every Star Wars movie. So I first watched the Phantom Menace then with a critical mind. And what really angers me is that you start watching that movie and you're going into this time period where the Jedi are high and mighty in the galaxy. And then come 2 Jedi in that first scene. I'm like, all right, let's do this. 2 Jedi. And they sit down. I was so pissed.
Great storytelling, George.
I also wonder if we're going to be pointed through Ahsoka, if that's going to segue into more Jedi, like if that's going to point us anywhere else. Because like the thing about having such a large universe like as Star Wars, galaxies, is it ticks me off. It has always ticked me off assuming just like all of the Jedi are dead. Like there's just like no, we're not seeing more Jedi. It's like are they not just out there? Like maybe they're just not hearing about these events. Maybe they're just not present in the like. Maybe they don't have viable transportation. I don't know. It's like it's just I don't know. Like it always like ticks me off to consider that because I'm like, there's got to be more Jedi and more Sith out there, or more Force sensitive people scattered out there that we're just not seeing and not talking about.
Force sensitive people, I don't mind, and you're going to watch Clone Wars, so I don't want to spoil anything. But I am one of the people that thinks that Jedi as a general idea, general concept, especially in this time period where the Mando takes place, they should be dead or nearly extinct. Ahsoka, given that she's in the Outer Rim, in the vast Outer Rim, and with things that happened in Rebels and Clone Wars, it would make sense for her to have survived, which is why I like that she's alive. But I don't know. I don't mind if we get to see, I know of, Ahsoka says, I know of Force-sensitive people throughout the galaxy. I have their names, their locations, etc. But I don't want Jedi, personally. You'll get more of an idea what I mean when you watch Clone Wars. But Austin, do you agree with me? Do you disagree?
Oh, 100%. 100% agree with you. I mean,
I'm not even. I guess that's my thing. I'm not even like saying I'll dial back. I'm not saying like I want or need to see more Jedi or Sith. It's just like when you're talking about the level of control, like you said, that the Jedi had established in the original trilogy, right? It feels like they wouldn't all just be in one place. You know what I mean? Like, there's like, like case in point, like Mandalorian, right? Children of the Watch. You have like, people who break out. You've got gray, you've got gray Jedi. You've got all these things confirmed. So it's like, I guess I'm just talking from like a lore and a mythos perspective in the Star Wars universe, not so much like, hey, I need more Jedi in my life.
Well, it seems like with the original trilogy, it was like, weirdly enough to say it, like a diamond in the rough to find like another Force sensitive besides like Vader, because Vader's like the big head Force user. I mean, obviously Obi-Wan, he's Desolate and Tatooine, and you got Yoda on Dagobah, and that's it. And then, of course, we end up finding out about Luke, end up being the son to Vader and all his Force sensitivity. And we're like you said, Ren, back 30 years, 20 years earlier, like the Jedi like rule, like there were Jedi everywhere, all throughout the Outer Rim, Inner Rim, Mid Rim, whatever. They're just everywhere. And now it's literally like they're just a legend, essentially, because really all there is that everybody knows of as of now is Luke.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair.
And when the Empire was in power, Palpatine made sure to destroy any register of the Jedi. That's why a lot of people are like, what's a Jedi? We don't know what that is. Which is why I don't want to see a lot of Jedi. That's one of the reasons we can share with you, Andy, without spoiling anything that you're going to see. But because it makes sense and it keeps the heaviness of Order 66. Because if there are a lot of people alive, it's like, what was the point then? Like a few weeks ago, it came out that the ideas George Lucas had for the original sequel trilogy, and I'm like, I don't like any of these either. Like I'm sure if he made them maybe direction wise and whatnot, it would have been good. But supposedly Luke is going to fight 50 to 100 Jedi alive, and I'm like, they just let 50 to 100 Jedi escape. Then Leia was going to be the chosen one, which I'm also like, I love Leia, but no.
Darth Maul was supposed to be the big baddie.
Yeah, that's the thing that I'm like, I don't like this, like reading it, but I think it could have worked maybe.
Yeah.
It just feels like, like Darth Maul is on the level of Obi-Wan. He's not on the level of, like, after Luke beats Vader and Palpatine, Maul to come back is kind of underwhelming, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
I mean, yeah, comparing it to Kylo.
Yes.
Like Kylo is a way better choice. I mean, his arc, it's not just, hey, let's just bring in, Maul. Like, why Maul?
I'm not biased at all, clearly, due to my name, but I agree that Kylo is a much better villain.
I mean, yeah, and once again, like that's why I like him having a redemptive arc. I wish was done better. Like, everyone basically saw it coming for the most part that was his trajectory.
Yeah.
But like just the scenes with him being wrathful, like just unleashing rage and fury, just felt so. Like I said, like so Sith-like, like just a nice like emotional villain was awesome because the Sith. It's odd because like Sith villains were like always kind of portrayed as like cold and calculating, despite like Sith being more about passion. You know what I mean? Like passion and like I don't know, just emotionality, fervor, whatever you want to call it. Whereas Jedi were seen more as being like very controlled, very conservative. But you also usually like saw more, to me at least, saw more like emotional Jedi and then like reserved. There we go, reserved like Sith. So yeah, Kylo was such a nice change of pace and like felt vicious. Like he just felt very combative, and his helmet was sick, and the lightsaber.
His lightsaber, man, one of my favorites.
Which is why I have them both.
There you
nice.
go.
I don't know. When's the last episode of The Mandalorian airing?
December 18th, I think. Not that I'm keeping track, but
I can show them to you guys then, because by December 18th, I'll be back home for the holidays, and I'll have the lightsaber and the helmet with me.
Nice. Oh, that's right. I think you mentioned that you had left that back at home. Like one of our
because they don't fit in the bag. Unfortunately, I can't bring them.
Gosh.
Well, too, to kind of go back to the point of like Order 66, like Fallen Order, or even Rebels too does it very well. You get the Inquisitors, basically fallen Jedi who have turned to the dark side, but they're not full Sith, but they're still Sith-ish, I guess is the word we can use, but they're not scared to use the dark side, in Fallen Order. I always forget which sister it is.
Second. I think it's a second.
I have the pop.
Hang on. I have the pop.
Second sister. That's what it's called.
Yes.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, the second sister and the ninth sister. Andy, if I can suggest any Star Wars game for you to play, it has to be Fallen Order.
Oh no, I've already got my favorite Star Wars video game. It's called Mass Effect. So I'm good. No, sorry, I love Mass Effect. But yeah, Fallen Order, I've heard good things about it. I haven't picked it up. That might be a Black Friday cop for me, especially since apparently I'm not getting a PS5 this year. So
yeah, Ren, thanks for rubbing that in our face.
Yeah, seriously.
If it's any consolation, it's back in Portugal. I'm still here in the UK. So I'm technically not with it either. I just have the two games.
But you still play them. You still own it though, as in you were still able to obtain one.
Yes.
Then I don't want to hear it.
And Eddie's very salty.
I spent the entirety of my day, months in advance. Okay, I mean first quarter of this year, even before quarantine hit. All right, I knew the date that I knew the projected date of the PlayStation 5 drop. I saw the Amazon price leaks in Europe. All this stuff I planned out months in advance, put my time in, took my time off so that I would have that the Friday through Monday and Tuesday off. I coordinated this Thursday, Friday, then Monday, and all off, and then I don't get one. I took 9 months of planning went into this.
Sorry, man.
So I'm a little salty.
I do have to say it's kind of one of the advantages of being from a small country, but still, I called the store and they were like, "We have 2 left, disc version left. The digital versions were sold out." But I called it and they're like, "We have 2 left. Do you want?" We have 2 left, but it's only the disc version. I'm like, "Yes, disc version. That's what I want."
Right? Yeah.
But my buddy got one, and I watched him unbox it yesterday, and I was.
I can't wait to take that baby out of the box. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm really excited.
Dude, just film your unboxing video. Let people live vicariously.
I will. I promise. I haven't done an unboxing in a long time. So I'll probably do this time for the PS5, the beautiful PS5.
Well, Andy, if I can pass on some advice to you from him, he says you're supposed to keep checking the Walmart.com and you're supposed to keep looking. And if you see it and get it in your cart like right away because they are gone like that.
I know. You know how I know that is because I spent a full day and a weekend doing that. My friend and I, like my friend Michael and I, had like the night before, we'd come up with a game plan where we'd both be posted up at our computers, like have the page open. Like I had the page and the cart logged in and opened on my MacBook and then on my work computer. So I was like dual wielding so that I could refresh it. And like once I added, I could check out every time. Every time it failed. Like the site broke at some point. Like it was insane. Like at one point it was like they were gone in like 2 minutes. Like it, but to your point, it's like, yeah, like Ren, y'all had them in store. Like none of the stores in my area like were carrying them. Like it was literally all just you had to order online, and that was only through Walmart. I think it was.
Mine was actually through call because what's the English term for the word I'm looking for? So
English, like English or like American English? You mean like?
No, it's the same in either, but since English is still a second language. So the guy who's married to my sister, what's that to me? My brother-in-law. That's it.
Okay, nice.
My brother-in-law. He knows someone in a gaming store, and so he called it, and he was like, "We only have two, but only the disc version." I'm like, "Yes, I want the disc version," but he wanted the digital version because it's cheaper, so he prefers that way because he doesn't care to have the games physically, you know. So it's indifferent for him. So I got the PS5, but he didn't. But it was thanks to him that I did get it. But it was through call because he knows the owner of the store, and he was like, "Hey, can you get me a PS5?"
Gosh, having the plug. Oh my gosh, no, that's man. I don't know. I guess that kind of ties into Star Wars in a weird way. Is one, I'm hoping that I want to play Fallen Order, but I'm hoping that they remaster it because it seemed to have done very well. Definitely better than
it might be on the because there's this really cool thing that they're gonna have in the PS if you're a subscriber to PS Plus. That's the PS Plus collection that has so many games on it. It's insane, so many, and I'm not sure if Fallen Order was announced in that collection, but it might be added. It is? Okay, cool.
I think so because I know God of War is on there. I mean, obviously, I played that game enough, but still.
Boy.
I still need to. Oh gosh, I need to pop that one back in and try to beat the final Valkyrie again. Like
the final Valkyrie.
Shoot! Did I spoil something?
No, you didn't spoil anything. But I've still only beaten 4 of them.
No, I got all the way to the Valkyrie Queen or whatever.
Oh my god!
I collected all the helmets. You collect all the helmets. You put them on the seats and all that, and then you summon the Queen, and she's straight up the hardest boss fight in the game. And like.
She's the hardest. I'm having a hard part being like a fifth. I don't even remember which one, but I'm like 4 in, and I'm having a bitch of a time.
Oh, dude, I faced the first one. Oh, dude, I spent like days trying to beat her. I found
the first one by accident. I was still not done with the story, and then I'm like, oh, what is this? And I beat the first one I found. Again, I don't even know which one it is, but I beat her. I don't want to say the first time, but it didn't take me too many tries to beat her. Still was very, I don't want to say difficult, but challenging. It was still, okay, she was tough. And so I went on searching for the Valkyries. The second one was even harder. The third one was even harder. Then the fourth one, I spent days beating her, only to then find out that, I don't need to beat them to play the story. God damn it.
I think that was like part of it too. Is like I found one of them. I don't even think I found the first one. It was like maybe the second one or something like that, because I guess you can do them out of order. I found it.
You can.
I was like, oh, that was a cool secret boss fight, and like I got some gear. And then I think I found another one, and I was like, "What the heck is going? Like there are 2 of them?" And then I like looked it up, and I was like, "Oh, this is a whole thing now."
I found the first one at like right after you beat Baldur at the end of the game. Like that's like you go into that extra room there, and you can go down, and that's where I found that first one. And
And that's what sucks is because they have such good gear, like they've got like good gear, and so it's like, well, this would have helped in the first and second and third act, like like this would have helped at any other point than this, but then you got to face the rest of them. God.
When I played through the game again, I did so much farming just to level up, just so everybody was just so much easier to beat, and there was so much more of the story I never did, like freeing the dragons.
Oh
doing
yeah,
doing all the stuff for
Wait, dude, freeing the what?
Dragons?
The dragons.
Nope, man, you gotta look. Dude, those are fun. I love those. And then you do the little things for Sindri and, oh, God, I don't remember what his name is. The two dwarfs.
Gnomes? Yeah, Brock?
Brock. There you go. Brock and Sindri. And then you have to go around and free the ghosts of the ship or whatever.
Did I miss? Did we play the same game?
No, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, Austin. I don't know if I freed one or freed two, but I don't think I freed them all.
Oh, yeah, there's 3 of them.
But it was sounding strange to me too, Andy. I was like, freeing the dragons. So, but now when I saw the pictures on Google, I was like, oh, that.
Yeah, I might have done that and forgotten it, but I'm legit worried because I never played New Game Plus. Because I was just trying to beat the final Valkyrie so much that
I might go back tomorrow now that we're bringing this up. I'm like on a God of War high.
I know.
Yeah, I might have to go re-download it and play it again.
Especially with Ragnarok coming out, man.
Yes,
I can't wait. That's my hype. That's my most hyped game.
Yeah. Same. By far. It's my favorite video game franchise of all time.
Oh, man, I cannot wait. I don't know if it's still happening, but they're talking about making it into a Netflix series.
That's the way to go. Jared Butler is too old to play Kratos now, but Jason Momoa is ripe. It's ripe for it.
Oh, gosh.
He would fit. There was a theory going around for a while if they do like a 4th one for like the new God of War that they were going to have Triple H play him.
Oh,
well,
I love Triple H, but I don't think he's a good actor to lead the show. That is,
I think maybe Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean,
he just stuns the gods,
then catches a beer.
Exactly.
But
he just has 2 horns and fills them up.
That is also a cool. This is going to sound so weird. That's a cool thought about Kratos too, is because representation has become such a big thing in Hollywood, which it's not that it's important, right? Because it really is, and it's nice to see. But Kratos could literally be played by for the most part, any actor of any race, because I mean he's got his family's ashes bonded to his skin, so it's if you go with that, then it's you just put someone in some body paint, and it can literally be The Rock, it could be Jason Momoa, it could be it could be any number of people who just have the build and the disgruntled look of having your family killed and bonded to your flesh.
Exactly.
Let's keep The Rock away from there, please.
Yeah.
I love The Rock, but I think he's too nice for this role. He's just too charismatic in the opposite way that he should be for Kratos.
You know who I just thought of is I wonder how Dave Bautista would handle it.
I think he's too old already to play him for a long time. That's why I didn't bring him up. But he's good. And I think he could maybe play one of the gods or something. But I think if you want to do a show and have longevity in your show, you don't hire a guy who's 50 years old right now. Even though, I hope I look half as good as he does at 50.
Oh, yeah.
I could see him playing Poseidon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I could see that. Man, who would be your dream cast for Zeus?
For Zeus. Because it's got to be someone who can play old, but it's not actually old.
Morgan Freeman.
That's good. That's good.
God, but
I'm gonna go Jeremy Irons. Because we need the voice. We need a cool voice for Zeus.
Actually, then I'm gonna go with Donald Sutherland. Is him as President Snow in the Hunger Games series. Convinced me he's a good man on the throne, so
yeah.
Okay, now that you said that, I know who you're talking about. That'd be a good choice.
You know what? Batista could play Ares.
Yeah.
There you go.
But then who would you have play Hercules?
Oh, Hercules. That's you're not gonna like this.
No.
He just needs to be a boss, but John Cena. John Cena can be Hercules.
Yeah.
And he's just starting his career, but he already got a show after a movie with Peacemaker, so people are liking him. I think he has that. I think he can get the chops to get to that level for that character.
Oh, and he's like, I mean, well, it wouldn't be a humorous role, but I mean, like, and he's just got like, like, I'm gonna say decent because I haven't seen him in enough stuff, like, or dynamic enough roles, but he's got like decent acting chops. It's like
He does. Have you seen Blockers?
I haven't.
That movie's so funny.
Blockers is
Really?
one of the movies. Like for the most part, I hate John Cena as an actor. I'm gonna tell you right now, I hate him as an actor.
Oh man,
I think he's really bad. But in Blockers, he just shows his comedic chops and his charisma are on point, and he feels like he's fearless when it comes to acting. Like he'll do anything on screen as long as it serves the movie. Like in Blockers, it was to serve comedy. Like it feels like he'll do anything.
That was actually in Bumblebee. Like he had one of my favorite just lines of all time is when he's in the army and like they're talking over like working with the Decepticons. He's like,
yes.
No one else think this is strange. They're literally called Decepticons.
Dude, yes. I was like that when I saw Bumblebee. I'm like, these people are dumb. And then he says that and I'm like,
gosh. Yeah, just self-aware enough. It was Travis Knight did a good job. Travis Knight or
Travis Knight. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it, man. The Marine's a guilty pleasure of mine.
The Marine. I haven't watched The Marine.
I love that movie.
That's with Cena as well, or
that's his first debut lead role. That was back in 2006.
Oh, whoa!
With Robert Patrick as the villain.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Andy, you learned so much from us.
I know. I will, it's like funny having having a friend like Sean and getting exposed to like so much movie stuff, and then like talking to y'all, and y'all know so much movie stuff, and like I like indie movies. I don't know. I like indie movies, but like and by indie movies I mean A24 films, which aren't that indie anymore. But no, I do like movies, but just. I'm not a movie buff. It's like I like it, I watch it, I like looking for all that stuff. But then I talk to y'all, I talk to Sean, I talk to people who are into films, and it's just mind blowing because it's like, man, I am not watching the same movie as y'all are.
We're gonna rename this Andy King Learns More.
The Andy King Learning Hour. Oh,
there you go.
Sorry, I was just literally gonna say that word by word.
No, but
it's a YouTube series called Andy Goes to Movie School.
There you go.
Oh god, I did
and wrestling school and video game school and whatever.
Actually, that is funny. Is like one of my friends is a huge wrestling nut, like WWE, and like he was explaining like and he's our youth pastor,
wow.
Yeah, so it's just hysterical because he grew up, and then so I'm 28, he's 26. So then when we lived together, it's just weird because like little weird bits of it would come out, like of him just watching WWE when I got home out of nowhere, or him giving me the backstory of the Dudley Boys and all this stuff, and me being like, oh, this is what it's like when I talk about comics, like this, now it's starting to come together.
I used to be huge into wrestling up until maybe 3 years ago, and I fell off, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, I still catch up with it. I still know all the weirdness that's going on in it right now. But Ren, I see you're rocking an AJ Styles shirt.
I am, sir. I don't even remember when I got this, but
they came here. They came here 2 or 3 times. And the main event of one of them nights was AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens.
Nice
for the WWE title. Oh my god, that was an amazing match.
Back in Portugal, it's not common that they go there, So I went to every single live event that they went there. There was one in December 2006 because Eddie Guerrero didn't win, so it was December 2006. Then there was one in 2007. Then there were two in 2006 was SmackDown. Then 2007 was Raw. 2008 was Raw, and then 2009 was SmackDown. And then in 2012 was the last time they went there for a while, and it was SmackDown again. And I got the best seat. So you have the ramp, and then it diverges to make space for the ring. I was right here. When it diverges, I was right here, first seat next to the ramp, and the main event was The Undertaker, my favorite of all time, and Sheamus versus Big Show and MVP. And no, MVP wasn't there that time. Who was it? Yeah, but it was Undertaker and Sheamus versus Big Show and someone else. And I have a pick. I don't know where it is right now, but I have a pick. I'm looking right here at The Undertaker. My favorite of all time is literally sitting on top of me. There was one in 2008 where it was Raw and MVP was in the main event. I think it was him and Umaga versus Triple H and Chris Jericho, if I'm not mistaken. And MVP wore those things in his nose yeah. And I'm like, I liked MVP, even though he was a heel. I really liked him. So I'm like trying to get a high five, and he throws me that thing, and I still have that thing back at home from MVP. It's a purple one. And then I went to another live event. These were all live events, by the way, in 2017. And Portugal is a very small country, so it's usually the last stop on a tour, whether it's wrestling, whether it's a band. So I went in November to a live event where AJ Styles, in the main event, faced, still hurts to say this, WWE champion Jinder Mahal. And Jinder won by disqualification. 2 days later, on Friday Night SmackDown in Manchester, AJ Styles faces Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship and wins the WWE Championship. And then finally, last year, I got a present on my birthday that was to go to actual Friday Night SmackDown here in London. And it was, I don't remember if it was the go-home show before Money in the Bank, but it was on the lead up to Money in the Bank. So it was one of the nights where Finn Balor, one of my current favorites, Andrade, and all the Money in the Bank people were there. And then the main event was New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. So not as good seats, I'll tell you this right now. Because in the all other live events, I was somewhere around the ring. But still a really spectacular experience. A goal I have is to make it to a pay-per-view, if not more specifically a WrestleMania someday in a good seat.
That is still a dream of mine, man. Even though I'm not as big into wrestling anymore, I would love to go to a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The only pay-per-view I've ever watched actually was the Mayweather McGregor fight. Only pay-per-view thing I've ever watched. And it's funny because it was like $50 to pay-per-view it or whatever here in the States or whatnot. And it was weird because, I was living with Trey back then too. And he's just like, dude, have you heard about this fight? I'm like, yeah, it's stupid. Like, it's stupid, like how much they charge for pay-per-view. It's like, yeah, like you don't even get to rewatch it. You want to go 50-50? So yeah, we just each pay. But you said Undertaker, and that made me think, have y'all heard, this is so stupid. Have y'all heard, I don't know if y'all go on Reddit a lot, but there's this stupid meme on Reddit. There's this Reddit user who he's got this running joke where he'll post a legitimate answer to something. You'll be on a cooking subreddit, right? And he'll post his recipe for pasta or something like that, and then he'll end it by talking about what is it? The time that in 1998 Undertaker threw Mankind off of Hell in a Cell.
I haven't seen it, but I want it now. Yeah, I want to see that how he transitions, how he segues into that.
It's amazing because each time it's the same guy each time. So if you check his username when he posts, you know what's coming. But then if you just see an answer, you just read it and you're like, oh wow, this is actually real good advice for cleaning calcium deposits off my engine. Gosh, come on, and get to the end, it's incredible. But
still one of the greatest matches ever.
Oh yeah. Man. When they first came here in 2013, it's the first time they've been here in years, since early 2000s. But my seat, I was up in the rafters, and I got to see the full ring, and I got to see the ramp, so I got to see like everything. But
Yeah.
the main event that night was originally supposed to be John Cena versus Ryback in a tables match, but something happened like schedule-wise with Cena, so we ended up getting Ryback versus Sheamus in a tables match.
Ooh.
I actually got to meet Ryback. He was actually at one of the car dealerships here, and I had the dark blue John Cena shirt on that he had. I got his autograph. He looked at me. He's like, "That's a stupid shirt," and gave me his thing. I'm like, "Thank you. Nice to meet you too." Even though I know he's supposed to be in like character or whatever, but
Of course.
I laughed. He's like, "That's a stupid shirt," and like, "Thank you."
I love that. I love that so much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, man. Like, it's just. It used to be so good, like even just like I said, like 3-4 years ago, and now it's just.
It's starting to get better again. I'll tell you, more specifically, SmackDown is consistently good, if not great. Raw is consistently bad, if not all right.
Yeah.
But Drew McIntyre is the WWE champion. That's all that matters to me.
Oh, he wanted it back again? I thought it was
He
like
would.
now.
They changed plans because it would be very obvious that Roman Reigns is not going to lose to Randy Orton.
Yeah.
But now you have two guys that are very protected, like the two most protected guys in the business right now, Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. So that creates more of a, who's going to win? And also The Miz, I'm sure it's going to try to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And hopefully it doesn't win, like, because that way Drew can pin him and not pin Roman. So both guys are still protected.
That's nice. I'm just thinking about like when I found out like that wrestling was like staged, you know, like I mean I don't mean that in a bad way, but you know that like there's just like story elements and like it's like
a choreography. It's a choreography. Yeah.
Thank you. But like I remember because I was like 16, like I was like a teenager when I found that out, and I remember it like flooring me. But then I've got this comic by graphic novel by Box Brown, this novelist I really like, or this illustrator, comic writer, whatever you want to call it, and creator I really like. And he's got one on Andre the Giant. It's a biographical novel on Andre the Giant. Super awesome. But
nice.
It also goes into how like Andre the Giant like basically led to Hulk Hogan's career. Like there's just once again the history of stuff like that is crazy to me because I only knew Andre the Giant from Princess Bride, So
anybody want a peanut?
Gosh, man.
Whew.
Wow.
This is a long episode.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, man, the last 20 minutes have been like, or last like half hour have been pretty fun though. I mean, we veered off pretty far. We went from like movies and video games to like wrestling to John Cena and like whoa, like
gosh.
Man, from Mando to Star Wars to movies to God of War to wrestling.
That does actually, back. I don't know why I'm just thinking about this now, but like, yeah, back to Star Wars kind of. I wonder how and if the Mandalorian is going to impact like the fourth trilogy at all. I mean, it's because it's supposed to be set like a long time, like after the Skywalker saga, right? But I wonder if like anything we're seeing now is going to like have larger implications way down the line, like especially with the child and stuff. I don't know. That's that's all I got. But
I'd be okay seeing an older Baby Yoda. Maybe we'll get a name finally.
Adult Yoda.
Adult Yoda.
The adult.
The adult.
Gosh. Man. Oh my God.
So, all right, guys. So, what would you guys rate this out of 10, Ren?
I'm going to go a solid 8.5.
Dang it.
Okay. Andy?
Dang it. That's what I was going to give it. So, like, now I want to give it like a B+, like out of 10. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a B+ out of 10, which I guess is like an 8.5, 8.75. I don't know. I don't feel like a comfortable 9 because I felt like it dragged in a couple parts, but especially like someone like I'm gonna give it 8.5. Really liked it. It's personally my favorite episode of the series so far.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I'd say the same, probably about 8.5. I just like the blend of the action and the comedy and everything that we got. And yeah, I agree. It kind of bogs down a little bit, but didn't take me out of it.
Actually, I got to backpedal, man. The first episode is my favorite. Like, okay, this is my second. I'm with y'all. Second favorite episode. Like, I'm just remembering the freaking crag dragon or the dragon.
Crate.
In first. Thank you. Crate dragon, and I can't get over it. Yeah, first episode. This is my second favorite.
Me and the graboid on steroids.
Seriously. Gosh.
I feel like we're maybe all on the same, like, episode, like, chapter 9's number 1. This is number 2.
Three.
Yeah.
3.
But I do feel I agree that it's third place, the Bo-Katan episode, but I do feel I like that episode more than you guys.
The Bo-Katan episode? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I really like that episode as well.
Well, I think it had more of a, based on like what we've talked about, I think it definitely had more of a payoff for you, like in a great way.
True.
As a Clone Wars fan and stuff.
Dang it! I wish we got to talk that episode with you, just because I wanted to see your face light up as we were talking about Bo-Katan being in that episode.
It wasn't even when she was in that episode; it's when she says, "There, you'll find Ahsoka Tano." I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
You're like a little kid on Christmas, just yay, more.
Exactly.
But I mean, y'all were calling that, like, y'all were calling that already. You guys had the, y'all were calling that back when we were like just discussing the Mandalorian, like before like the Talkalorian, like. And once again, I didn't have the reference from Clone Wars. I just knew Ahsoka Tano might be involved based on what y'all were saying. So now that we're getting definitive like timelines, definitive like allusions, like we're going that direction. It's awesome.
Yep. All right, guys, that is going to do for episode 4 of the Talkalorian. I want to thank Ren and Andy for coming back as always. And again, their channels are linked down in the description below. If you haven't checked them out yet, get on over there, check them out. And can't wait for next week's episode, guys. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about next week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so excited. So with that being said, you guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.